Welcome. It's your boy Mike, and today I wanted to talk about the expectations that I have for all other Raptor players. I've done separate videos about certain players like OG. I think I did one about Fred, but I just wanted to do a whole, you know, conversation about my thought process of everyone's expectations. I'm not going to go through every player. I'm not going to go through the Jeff Doughtons of the team or even Wancho. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about, to me, the 13 guys. I think, yeah, about 13, maybe 14 if we're including. I want to talk about Justin Champagne and then everyone from there, you know? But I'm going to first talk about the players who we may not see a lot this year to the players, to the starting five. Before I go on, make sure you like, subscribe, follow on all socials, everything. I really want to start doing more podcasts. I really enjoy it. The other day, I had a coworker ask me if I'm still doing these videos, because I used to do it a lot back in the day. And I honestly have never really cared about, well, I could say in the beginning I cared a lot about views. Now I don't really care about them. And I think the moment I stopped caring about the views and generally just wanted to speak and talk about it, better things happened for me. I've had the ability to talk to multiple people. No, of course, no Raptor player, nothing like that. But I did have the ability to talk to some people who talk about the Raptors and things like that. So I'm pretty, happy of what I've done so far. But it's really nice to, still talk about the Raptors now and still enjoy this team. I'm really looking forward to this season overall, this NBA season. I'm just looking forward to. I think this could be one of those years. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm hoping, we have a really good playoffs. Like, I'm hoping for a lot of great things for this NBA season. But let's start off with talking about Justin Champagne. He's the first Raptor I want to talk about. Mind you, my expectations, are not going to be outlandish. They're going to be quite fair of what I'm expecting. Like Justin Champagne, I'm expecting him, or what I would like to see for him to have some rotation minutes. That's all. Nothing crazy. Just for him to have rotation minutes. I believe in Justin Champagne. I said it last pod. I'm going to say it again. He's just that guy that's going to hit a shot when the game matters the most. That's what I think. I truly think Justin Champagne is that type of person. So I honestly, the only expectation I really want to see from him is having minutes. To me, Justin Champagne is the guy that, for the following season, he's going to probably take over Thad Young's minutes or Otter Porter's minutes. Like, that's what we're doing. We're really just establishing him like we did with Pascal, we did with Fred. OG, I think OG and Norm are two people I think started off having minutes. Norm's minutes were up and down, but OG kind of had minutes from the moment he came. But I could see Justin Champagne on that same trajectory as Pascal and Fred. So that's my expectation. That's my expectation of Justin Champagne. Now, going to another person who I kind of see that Fred and Pascal growth mode is Dalano Banton. I see Dalano Banton also having, my goal or my expectation of Dalano Banton is also having a lot more minutes, being a solidified point guard, getting meaningful minutes, and I'm saying like 10, 15 minutes a game. That's my expectation. And of course, not everyone can get the minutes, and we want to reduce Pascal and Fred's minutes. But that's my expectation, is to see Dalano Banton actually become a rotational player. In all honesty, like, I think if we can get him to be, and the thing with Dalano Banton, everyone's seeing the potential. He can finish he's one of the better finishers on the team. We're seeing what he did in the G League, and when he's in the G League, he's putting up 25 points, 30 points. He's hitting the three consistently. I think that's something we want to see with Dalano Banton. I think we want to see the three being hit consistently at a 35 to 40% clip. His drives to the baskets. We want to also see the limited turnovers, right? I don't think that's a lot we're asking for when it comes to Dalano Banton. I think we're just truly just wanting to see him become that solidified backup option for Fred, improve in the areas such as, turnovers and his shooting ability. I think his driving to the rim, his quickness, he already has. I don't think we have to expect it to be better. I think it's pretty good now, and just by virtual just growth, it's going to get better. But I really want to see that, I'll say the expectations I have for him. If I'm saying it, my expectations are for him to become a solidified backup and for him to shoot the three at a reasonable 35 to 40% rate. And I'll say 35 because he's still growing in that area. So let's try to see the best we can see in that. Now, the guy he's competing with for minutes, which I don't like the thought of saying that he's competing with this guy, is Mr. Malachi Flynn. I said it before, Malachi Flynn, and not anymore, but Jalen Harris were like guys that I think I spoke about a lot during the offseason. I spoke about what we can see from them going forward. There are 2-3 years ago draft picks that we haven't really gotten a lot out of it, right? And with Malachi just coming off a really good preseason game, we still have high expectations of him. And I think it's because we have Fred, and we're like, oh, Fred was undrafted. Why can't you be like Fred? Or we're looking at a Desmond Bane, and we're like, why couldn't we get Desmond Bane? I actually wanted Desmond Bane. I really liked Desmond Bane at the time. I think it's one of those things that, it's hindsight. And now we're saying this, we can say that it happens, For Malachi Flynn, I think what I would like to see from him is consistency. And I mean, good consistency. We need to see he has to be consistent. I think we're all pretty confident he can shoot the three well. He looks like a good shooter. He shoots well. If the man's scoring 60 points at a Drew League game, of course, with the amateurs, he can give you freaking 5 to 10 points a game. So ultimately, with Dalano and Malachi Flynn, we're hoping to get a backup point guard that can help reduce Fred's minutes. That's what I'm expecting, right? So Malachi Flynn's expectations from me is simple, just consistency. Just for him to be consistent. I don't know what else we can. I don't know what else we can expect. I just want consistency with Malachi. I do think in the trade deadline, I think Malachi may not be with us. I honestly, and that's even if he has a good season or not good season. I'm not too sure. I'm not sure if he fits their vision. Well, I know he doesn't fit their vision. I think we all know he probably doesn't fit their actual vision of, Dalano Banton fits their vision. A 6'9" point guard, then that fits their position. But also, see, not only with the consistency do I want to see from Malachi Flynn, I just thought of it now. I want to see Malachi, lead the team when Fred's sitting down. Or maybe Fred has an off day. I want to see Malachi really take over that point guard duty. The thing, when I watch Malachi Flynn, what I see is a little bit of Chris Paul light. I always felt that way. When I watch Malachi Flynn play, I see Chris Paul light. That's why I know Jay Crowder wants to start, but if he didn't want to start, he wanted to come off the bench, I would not mind trading Malachi Flynn, and you probably have to add Ken Burch's contract to get a Jay Crowder. I wouldn't mind that. Jay Crowder would be another big. Jay Crowder can honestly play the small ball 5 as well. I don't know. I just, something that I can see. I think Chris Paul can almost develop Malachi to become become a him light version, That's what I see with Malachi. I just want to see consistency overall in Malachi's game. The next person is Ken Burch. I've said that Raptor fans need to be a little bit more respectful to Ken Burch. I find that, when a player doesn't have a great season, we just harp on them. I think this year's candidate is OG. I think if OG or even Gary Trent don't play well enough, people are going to dog on them. You can see it, and they're going to be the guys that people pick on and blame. I think Ken Burch was a lot of the blame, and I don't think he deserved it because he was hurt a lot. The expectation I have for Ken Burch is simple. Stay healthy. Be healthy. Now, of course, he can't determine if he's going to be healthy. Injuries happen. But that's all I can expect. 'Cause I honestly think a healthy Ken Burch can help this team. Just watching the preseason game, like I said in my podcast before, Ken Burch was moving much quicker than he was before. Ken Burch was like moving around, and I liked it. I liked what I saw. So I think a healthy Ken Burch is kind of like the Tampa Bay Ken Burch, and I think it's someone that could be very valuable for the team. If he can, hit a 3 a game, that would be nice. But honestly, just health. Health is what I'm looking for. Health is what I want to see. Ken Burch's expectation is just health. I hope the man can stay healthy. Now, the next person is Thad Young. And the person after that is going to be Otter Porter. What I'm expecting from Thad Young is quite simple. It's actually not that much. Thad Young, I just want to continue to see that leadership that he has. I think he helps. Like when he came on to the squad, I think Scotty played better, OG played better, Pascal played better, and I think having someone who can help you see the little things is needed. Having a coach on the bench is needed. I don't, Fred does that a lot. I think with Thad Young, I think it's just good to have that veteran leadership, a consistent vet that is there. So I don't have expectations of him scoring or, becoming a better facilitator. I don't care about that with Thad Young. I think one thing we have to realize as like in the NBA, everyone can score. Some people are better than others, but everyone can score. The Raptors can score 100 points, okay? They can score it. They have the guys. If you want, Fred is willing to score more. So is Gary Trent. So is OG. So is Pascal. So is Scotty. So is Precious. So is Boucher. Like, I think those 7 guys I just named are going to be the scorers for you. So then you don't have to worry about that. So you need everyone to do the intangibles. Who's willing to do the little things? And I think Thad Young does a lot of the little things. So my expectation of Thad Young is to just be a continuous veteran leadership for this team. Moving on to another vet is Otter Porter. Where I could say that I would like to see from Otter Porter is almost the same thing as Ken Burch. Just stay healthy. Everyone knows that Otter Porter has dealt with injury concerns in the past. I don't think his injury concerns now are... I think they're more just, he's a vet. Let's just kind of... We know when we're going to need him, and we're not needing him for a preseason. He can play a couple minutes, but we're not going to need him for that. Otter Porter is a... When I say Swiss Army knife, he's the guy that can do a little bit of everything for you, which is Swiss Army knife. Not at the same level as probably an OG for you, but it's a good backup to have. It's a really good backup to have. So I think Otter Porter, what we're going to need from him, what we're asking of him, is to kind of, be a deadly shooter. So that's my expectations of Otter Porter, to almost be like a 45% shooter. And that's asking a lot. He's a 40% shooter now. So I'm just asking this guy to be 45. And I know it's a lot. That's probably a little bit steep. But that's what I think the Raptors need. We need a guy who can be a threat. So Otter Porter's biggest need, or what the Raptors are looking for from Otter Porter, is just be a threat, a deadly shooter threat for Toronto. He was that for the Warriors. I believe he shot 2 of 3 in the NBA Finals. Only 6 points, but he played good defense and he started. Like, don't forget, the man started for a championship team. I don't care if he played 13 minutes. The coaches looked at Otter Porter and said, let's start him. Because he's versatile, right? He may not have ended the games, but they still said, let's start him. They still believed in the talent that he has. The man's only like 30, so like, what are we saying? There's still so much more. Not more, but he has much more NBA career left in him. And I believe that my expectation is fair. Deadly shooter. A guy that if we leave him open, he's going to kill us. I think Raptor fans, we've seen a lot of guys do that to us where we leave them open and they kill us. Why are we leaving these guys open? They're literally killing us with a 3-point shot. I think Otter Porter is one of those guys that I want to be the one to kill other teams. Like, you don't want to leave Otter Porter open because it's going to be bad for you. So that's what I'm hoping to see. Next is Chris Boucher. What I'm expecting from Chris Boucher is to be a candidate of Sixth Man of the Year. That's what I'm expecting. Sixth Man of the Year, Chris Boucher. And how he's going to do that is by, hitting the three consistently. Once again, we need guys, and I know I've said it, 35 to 40% range is for everyone. That's what we're looking for. If we see that, the better. But the thing with Chris Boucher is, the reason why you're going to be a Sixth Man of the Year candidate is what you did in preseason. You 16 minutes, 14 and 11? So he was on the board. He crashed the board, and he scored points. Like, that's all we're asking for. Chris Boucher realized his game last year at near the end, like near the second half of the season. He realized his game. He knows what he has to do. He's not a number one option. He's not a number two. He is the energy guy. He's going to make the team better through his energy, through his play. And I can see a big year from Boucher. I think Boucher may be one of our better players this year. Like, of course, every player has like a down week or so, something like that. But I can honestly think that because of his change in mindset, Boucher is going to have a really good season. I can honestly see Boucher like being one of our better players this year, consistent player this year. So my expectation is for him to be in the six-man conversation. And I'm saying like top, 4, top 5 conversation. Like, he can't go below top 5. We need to be talking about Chris Boucher as a Sixth Man of the Year. Like, that's how I see it. That's my expectation for Chris Boucher this year. Average kind of like what Montrezl Harrell was doing, with probably a little less scoring, but the defensive impact that Boucher can have, is way more than Harrell could have ever had. So that's what I'm expecting from Boucher, is Sixth Man of the Year. Next is Precious Achiuwa. My expectation for Precious, I don't know if he's going to be my highest expectation that I have, but my expectation for Precious is to get us all talking. Get us all talking. Now, what I mean by that is Precious has to make the Raptors organization think about their roster. Like, should Precious be starting? Thoughts, And this could sound blasphemous to some people. Like, Precious' defense is so good, he's such a good wing defender. Can we let go of an OG? Mind you, I think if I let go of OG, I want draft picks. I want draft picks. I'm not letting OG go. I honestly realized I wouldn't let him go. I had an epiphany of how much I wouldn't let OG go. Because when you let OG, the Raptors during the DeMar and Kyle run, and I've probably repeated this multiple times, the Raptors during the DeMar and Kyle run needed an OG. The OG now, that Raptors team needed so badly. And I think if they had an OG, back then, maybe we're not getting swept by the Cavs. The Cavs are probably a better team, would have won. But remember, maybe we're not getting swept. Because, yeah. But I think the best version, or the highest expectation of Precious to me is to get us talking. We saw what he did at the latter end. Imagine if Precious is shooting the three at a clip that, once again, 35 to 40. Imagine if he's at 40% shooting the three. Imagine if he gives you random 20 and 10 games. I said the way Precious plays, he has, if anyone has it, he has the ability to have that Pascal type leap. He really does. Precious is that good. Precious, I would say he's that talented. He's that talented. So, to me, I think the expectations of Precious, that what I expect him to get us to talk. Make us start questioning the way we are viewing things, the way we see things. I think that's what Precious is going to do. I'm curious if he can do it. I'm excited to see what he can do. Preseason was preseason. I'm excited to see what Precious can do. But I think his expectations for me is get us speaking, get us talking, get us thinking about a few things. Now, Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent, my expectation for him is to be our, I had this written down already, but now I'm thinking differently. Now that I'm speaking about it, this may not make a lot of sense to some, but hear me out. To be our fourth quarter savior, if we need. Because he's the one guy, besides Pascal. Look, a lot of guys can get their basket and get their own bucket, but Gary's probably the best, pure shooter we have, or pure scorer, I should say, overall. Gary's probably the best one that we have. Pure shooter is Fred, but Gary's probably our best pure, he can get to the basket, do a lot of things. And I think, sometimes when we need that extra bucket, I think it's nice to have a guard who can get it to you. I think, like a Chris Middleton, if Gary Trent can do, his best Chris Middleton impersonation, that'd make me happy. So I think if Gary can develop that skill, I think Gary's a pretty good, three-point shooter. He can get to the basket. Probably if he can do better at that, that'd be great. So my expectation is for Gary Trent to be our best fourth quarter scorer. I'll say that. Our best option to score the ball in the fourth quarter. Yeah, have the ball in Pascal's hands or Fred's hands or even Scotty's hands. But, so if we need that bucket, when it's 3 minutes to go and we're tied 98-98 and you need someone to get a really, nice shot, if we're not going to Pascal, I think Gary should be our second option. Right now, eventually you want to give it to Scotty. You want him to get those reps in. But my expectation is for Gary to be the one that, we can rely on to get us that extra basket. Now, let me talk about OG. OG and O.G. Anunoby. My expectation for OG is simple. Be the one of the, because there's multiple, best two-way players in the league. Now, I try to tell everyone this. There's a difference between a 3-and-D player and a two-way wing. Two-way wings are Paul George and, Klay Thompson at a time was a two-way player. Now, if anything, Klay Thompson is a 3-and-D player. Plays some good defense, but a two-way player is someone who's more dynamic than just shooting a three. You want OG to be more dynamic than just shooting the three. OG's a hella strong when he's in the post. He didn't finish at the rim well last year. I think a lot of that has to do with he was putting the whole team on his back and did not do well at it. He just didn't do well. That's why Fred became the all-star. Let's really think about it. Fred became the all-star because, quite frankly, OG had it on his back and he didn't succeed. He didn't succeed at it. He really didn't. So, but I think the best way, like Mikal Bridges is a 3-and-D player. He probably hates being called that, but he's a 3-and-D player. The best version of him could be a two-way player, but someone like Paul George is a two-way player. Joel Embiid is a two-way player. He plays amazing defense, and offensively, he's unstoppable. Paul George is unstoppable. A lot of people have high expectations of OG. I thought maybe Precious, I had high. I think OG is pretty high as well. Become one of the most regarded two-way players. And not a 3-and-D player anymore. 3-and-D player is someone like PJ Tucker. No. OG Anunoby is a guy that, like I said, if we ever trade him, that's 2 draft picks. If DeJounte Murray is going for 2 draft picks, OG is going for 2 draft picks. And right now you can say DeJounte is better than OG, but I'm just saying, OG Anunoby is, he can shoot the 3 very well. Not well, very well. His catch and shoots are very well. When he's open, come on, the man is dynamite, Like I said, great post man if he has a man smaller than him. Finishing isn't good, so you're hoping the finishing gets better. OG averaged about 17 points a game, that's because he didn't play a lot of games. And for some reason, him and Scotty didn't, like, I don't know what it was, but him and Scotty didn't. The stats didn't show well for both of them when they played together. But those guys, they're like best friends. They're like best friends. You can see it. You can see OG. OG is low key like friends with everyone. OG just has that like thing that people just all like him. People just like OG. But my expectation for OG is being a one of the best two-way players in the league. Fred, I did a video about Fred, so I'll make it short and simple. The expectations I have for Fred is for him to just be the leader of this team. Like, Fred doesn't have to score 20 points like he did this past season. He doesn't have to do it. The best version of Fred is scoring 16 points. Efficient three-point shooter. He's the best three-point shooter. He's the best shooter on the team. And playing off ball more. So I think, but even though it's funny, he's going to play off ball more, but I think the best version of Fred is still averaging like 9 assists a game. It's just he's not going to be creating his own shots anymore. But he's going to average, like Steph Curry plays off the ball a lot, but he still averages like 8 to 10 assists a game because he's still the point guard. He's still, when you're, Steph Curry, of course, but when you can kind of play around with everyone, kind of move around, when you have these lengthy, tall guys and Pascal and OG and Scotty, like, it makes it easier, right? So it's easier to hit lob passes or hit mans for the corner. Like, it's easier for that, right? So my expectation of Fred is quite simple. Lead the team. Lead the team. The team has to listen to Fred and be like, you know what? Fred is our captain. Oh, captain. Whatever captain wants, we're going to do. Captain seeing the game a certain type of way. Fred is still a great defender. I want people to actually respect Fred's defense a little bit more. I do want to see that. I want to see that. Fred or OG or Precious should make an all-NBA team this year. All-defensive team. So that's all I want to see from Fred. Just lead the team. My expectations are pretty easy. Just lead the team. Doesn't have to score 20 points a game. He can score 15 and still be the best version of himself. The same thing with Kyle. Kyle averaged like 20 points the following season. The man averaged like 14, 15 with Kawhi. I think he averaged more, but my point is that he went down because his role was to get everyone touches, to make Pascal become a most improved player, to let Fred become that great off-ball player that he is. Like, that was Kyle's role, and he did an amazing job at that. The last two people, Scotty Barnes. I think I'm going to not be the consensus as everyone else. I think I see a lot of like reports saying that people think that Evan Mobley's going to have a breakout season. I don't know how someone who was second overall pick is going to have a breakout season the following year. Even Cade. Like, everyone's like they're supposed to be better, right? Even Scotty's supposed to be better. Top 4 pick. You're supposed to be better next season. So I don't know. I don't understand this whole they're going to be at another even level. The next level that these guys are going to be, that's all-star. Then the next is like the superstar, like you're going through a title, goes through that. I don't see that with Evan Mobley or Cade Cunningham this year. Eventually I do. I love Cade. I've always said I love Cade. If I ever trade Scotty Barnes, it's for potentially Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham, Luka, and Victor Wembanyama. And Victor's not even in the league yet, but I'll trade a lot of people for Victor. Just saying, if they're saying that's what he's gonna be, I want Victor. But Scotty, I'm not trading for a lot of guys. He's just no, not at all. But my expectations for Scotty, I didn't even say it yet. Like I said, you're not really gonna agree. If you're listening, you're not gonna agree. Just be you, Scotty. That's my words. That's what I wrote down. Just be you, Scotty. That's it. I'm not expecting this guy to score 25 points a game. I'm not expecting him to score 20 points a game. If Scotty gives us the same numbers he gave us last year, which is 15 points, I believe 7 rebounds. 15, 7.5, and 3. I'm okay. I would, if anything, because like I said, Fred's going to go down. If Scotty can give us 17, 8, and 4, that's a pretty solid season, man. Because once again, it's about growth. What I think makes me different from a lot of people who talk about the Raptors, some people may break down film. Some people may I think I'm a lot of eye test. I'm just watching the freaking game now. Forget the analytics part. I can bring up analytics if I want to. We can do all that. But just watching Scotty play. Just watch him play. If you just see him getting better in the little things, that's all we need to see. I just want to see him getting better at the little things, like foul less, get to the free throw line more. Even if he's still scoring 15 points a game, still get to the free throw line more. Be a better defender. Like these things that like the stats will show it, but like that's the intangibles that I want to see. I can care less about him being a 25-point scorer or 22. I want Scotty just to, with the little things be better, because the leap is gonna come. That when he scores the most points, it's gonna come. That's no doubt. It's all gonna come. It's all about, his improvement on the little things day by day. Him getting stronger, getting better, becoming more intelligent on the court. Those are the things we have to see. And that happens. I always talk about when we went from, I forgot who the coach was. I really forgot the coach before. But the coach we had before to then Dwayne Casey. Game 1, you saw the defense become completely different. Game 1, you're like, oh, this is different. They didn't win a lot of games that year, but you're like, it's different. The team's different. I like what I'm seeing. I the whole time you were watching DeMar, Kyle, JV, all them, you're like, this team's a little different. But I appreciate the way this team is. So to my expectations, that it's Scotty, just be you. Scotty, just be you. That's all. I want Scotty just to be the best version of Scotty. And I think that's the best version of the Raptors, when Scotty's just being Scotty. Last but not least, our number one guy, Pascal Siakam. I'm probably going to make a lot of videos about Pascal. I think Pascal, my expectations is this. I've talked about consistency, and this is why I'm going to talk about consistency with Pascal. Pretty simple. Is Pascal was a most improved player. The following year, he had a good beginning, didn't have a good bubble. Then the year was, the year after the bubble was, which is the COVID year, which is Tampa Bay, which is the Tampa year. Pascal wasn't great. Let's just say he wasn't great. He had some good moments. I think a lot of pressure came onto Pascal. He had a lot of good moments, but he wasn't the Pascal that we see, the Pascal we know and love. He wasn't that guy, and that's unfortunate to see. Now, in saying all that, with Pascal, we want to not see any more up and down seasons. So my expectation is not to go from good, bad, good, bad. That's one player I always felt I was like, was Cam Newton in football. He would have a good season, have a bad season. Good season, bad season. I knew the moment he won the MVP, the following year he was not going to be good, and he was not. Not trying to shout out, I'm just bringing up a football. I'm just saying some players are not consistent. Pascal this year needs to be consistent. That's what I'm expecting. Consistency. So I'm expecting Pascal to average 23 points. He averaged 8.5 rebounds. Same thing. Assist. Let's go. I think, was it at 5? I'm pretty sure it was at 5. Yeah. He averaged 23, 8 and 5. Some would say 9 and 5. I actually would like to see an uptick in points. I'm not going to lie. If he can score about 25 points, that's a lot to ask. But if he's shooting the 3 a little bit more, and it's at a higher clip than, the 20 to 32% he's been doing, then yeah. I think he can go 25. I think Pascal can give you 25, 8, and 5. That's, once again, all NBA numbers. Once again, it's all NBA numbers. That's what I'm looking for in Pascal. That's what I want to see in a Pascal. My expectation of Pascal is a 20. I'll say 24. I'll be fair. 24, 8.5 again, and 5. That's my expectation for Pascal. That's an all-NBA player right there. That's what I would like to see. But it's all about consistency. I don't want to see a drop-down year. Because what we've seen is when he has an up and down year, people still don't believe in Pascal a lot. People don't want to put Pascal in top 25. They just don't want to put him in top 30. They only put him in top 30 because for the second time in 3 years, he was an All-NBA player, which is top 15. But people don't see Pascal like that. Once again, people don't like Pascal's game. They don't like the way Pascal plays. They don't like the way he drives. They don't like his spin move. They don't like the way his game is. Simple. But this year, Pascal has to be an undoubted, no question, top 20 guy. And how you do that is scoring 24, 8, and 5. Every day. There's, of course, going to be some bad games. But we need, if you're playing 82, we need 70 plus games of, great Pascal. That's my expectation. That is my expectation of all the Raptors. That, I'm not going to talk about the DJ Wilsons. I don't even know that you guys will make the team. Even Justin Champagne, I talked about him. I don't know if he's going to make the team. I have no idea. But that's what I'm expecting from each guy. Tell me what you think. What are your expectations for this team? Hopefully it's reasonable. Be reasonable with your expectations. I think mine were pretty reasonable for everyone. What I'm expecting. I think I should say for overall as the team what I'm expecting. I'll talk about that. I'll give my prediction for this team later on. Nick Nurse, I'm expecting the same thing. Only thing I'm really expecting, I should say, is proper minutes distribution. I don't want Pascal and Fred to be. But you're hoping that's not the case. But if they're, do you need them to play? They're gonna play. If you're down 5, you need Pascal and Fred to play. Let's not act like you need your best players to play. That's simple. That's my invitations. Make sure you guys make sure you subscribe, and I'm gonna talk to you all very soon.